Buzzard entered a not guilty plea on Wednesday and is back in court November 19th. Melodee's paternal grandmother just wants to know where her grandma or her granddaughter is.
I would have never recognized her. I can't believe it's her. She looks so different. What about my case? Where's my granddaughter? Well, we don't know nothing yet. That's what they tell me.
So, can the information from Tyler Brewer help police find Melodee? And does it mean that Melodee is still alive? That's what she told Tyler. Here to discuss, retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer and private investigator Manuel Gomez. Good morning to both of you. Jennifer, what do you take from Tyler's rendition of events inside of Melodee's house?
Well, I find them to be very truthful. I think those events took place. And in terms of whether we can believe them, I think we can believe that they happened. But this is a woman who is in, a very difficult mental state. So I don't know how much deference we can really give to what she says. But I can tell you they're going to run down that lead. And it does give us a little bit more hope.
Manuel, obviously that lead has been run down, right? The moment that information was released, they went down that road, and still we don't have the 9-year-old. So on some level, you could assume that was not truthful, that she was just maybe throwing it out there. What's your take overall on what Brewer's reporting and the fact that even with that information, we still don't have the little girl?
I don't know. My feeling on Brewer is that his behavior is quite questionable, so I wouldn't take too much credibility on that guy. But I do have a solution, said Ted, to finally find Melodee. And the solution is grandmother. Both grandmothers, listen to me. Go to family court. Put in a petition for child custody for this child because of the mother's endangerment and neglect of this child. And I guarantee you the family court will hear your case. They will also appoint a lawyer to Melodee Buzzard. When they do that, the mother is going to have to turn over where her location is and let that lawyer speak to that child. Now, if she doesn't do that, then they will arrest her. And then we got Melodee. And then we can find out where she's at. That is a guaranteed solution.
Okay, I like it. A proactive potential solution from Manuel on a Friday. Jennifer, a lot of times, unfortunately, when kids are missing, especially for a month now, today, they end up being found, but it's their remains that are found. What does your gut tell you on this one? Because it is a little different. It's bizarre. The road trip, she returns, the wigs, the surveillance video. It feels like there's a chance that she's still alive. What's your take?
You know, I give it a very small chance, and this is going from statistically speaking, from cases from my experience with all of this. And I think at this point, it's very bleak that Melodee is alive. But as I said, there's still some chance. I also believe that authorities would have already run down anyone she would have intersected with in terms of family members. We know that there was family in Utah. That's the beginning of the investigation, is to run down all these possible individuals she could have been with. Again, I think Melodee's mother could have just made up that story of who she left her with, and probably that is what ferreted out. But we don't even know if that address was found. There's so little we really know about that information particularly.
Manuel, your thoughts on the possibility that Melodee is still alive?
I think the possibility is very bleak. And the reason why, in my experience in cases like this, is that, the longer you wait, the less chances of that child being found alive. This mother has deliberately evaded. She has deliberately deceived. And like my colleague said as well in the past, she's changed license plates. She wears wigs, disguises. She's done everything. And she's taken to the child to a location in Utah and Nebraska, which is well known for child trafficking. Again, The law enforcement, the FBI, the prosecutors, they've all failed in this. They keep making threats to this woman and nobody has come through. It is time for the family to take action in family court, put in that petition for child custody, for child neglect and child endangerment, because law enforcement is not doing their job. I'm sorry. If you want that child alive, take action now.
Jennifer, let's assume that nothing happens in this case in terms of finding Melodee. At what point and how could you envision a possible criminal prosecution here? What do you need to go after Ashley? If there is no body ever found, if she disappears off the face of the earth, does mom get away with it?
Well, the number one charge to me that sticks out that could be charged right now is obstruction. She is obstructing justice. She is not telling anyone what happened to Melodee. And furthermore, and I agree with Manuel, there needs to be more action taken. What I want to see is a judge issue a summons. She needs to go to dependency court and be forced before a judge to say what she did with Melodee. And if Melodee doesn't pony up, she needs to be thrown in jail on contempt of court. But something more actionable needs to be done at this point, or we're definitely going to lose Melodee.
Yeah, Manuel, I mean, it feels a lot like, as producer Annette says, Lori Vallow. This is like where are the kids, where are the kids? Where is Melodee? And you've got a mother, the person who is most relied upon on the face of the earth for a child to protect, who is refusing to answer the basic question of where her daughter is. And with the wigs, with the behavior, there seems to be something going on up there. What do you think what are the possibilities of mothers of her behavior, not saying where her daughter is? What's the possible reason for that?
Well, again, it goes back to what I said. My suspicion all along in the beginning is that this case is possibly a sex trafficking. She got rid of the child. She could not afford the child anymore. She has a history of feeding her prior child bad food. Her prior child was taken away by the father. Unfortunately, Melodee Buzzard's father died. So we have nobody else other than Melodee Buzzard's grandmothers to take action in this case. And like my colleague just said, all right, the longer we wait, she's going to show up dead. All right, this has passed the time of no return. We have to take action. And the problem is the system, Ted, is not taking the action. And unfortunately, it's going to wind up turning out like a Manuel horror case where there's going to be a dead body, but the parent won't say where it is. And that's my biggest fear in this case.
Jennifer, her instability is a problem, and how do investigators deal with someone like that to crack them?
Well, there's a case, Catherine Hoggle. It's exactly mimics this case. She had care and custody and control of her children. They both ended up disappearing. That woman was also extremely unstable. They ended up arresting her on obstruction. This is in 2014, and finally now in 2025, she's finally been charged with the murder of those kids. They still have no bodies. So they definitely can put together, a case, but it came down to them institutionalizing her. And during the while she was in that institution, she said she strangled the children and threw them in the trash. And that was the piece they needed. So I think they need to get her behind bars, and they need to get her in therapy sessions where she might divulge information.
Yeah, let's see where this goes. Again, 1 month ago today, she was reported missing, and a lot of people are hoping that she's possibly alive, but as discussed with you two, probably low probability. Manuel, Jennifer, as always, thank you.